Well, my name is Aivale Cole, and I was born and raised in Wellington. I grew up with PIC Church in Newtown, so I grew up with all those guys. That's where I, was in the church choirs, and then the school choirs, because I attended Wellington East Girls College, and that's sort of where I really fell into classical music in my sixth form year. I was doing music right up to that, but in the sixth form, which is probably equivalent to year 12 now, we had a performance music class and a music theory class, so they were separate. And in the performance class, we had to choose two options, instruments. So I chose piano. And I thought, violin, flute. Oh, no, I wouldn't be able to do that. So I chose voice as well. But one of the conditions with the voice to take vocals was you had to join the classical choir. And that was just like, hey, we don't do that, miss. But she's like, well, then choose another instrument. But I really wanted to do vocals. So, yeah, we joined the small choir. That was run by my very first singing teacher, Rosie Sailors, and she was pretty much the one that really got me into classical singing.
Wow.
And she specialised in Baroque singing. She studied here in London, so she was amazing in her field. So having her as my first teacher was like the perfect start with classical singing. Yeah. Our head of department, Heather Jones, or Miss Jones, she organised us to go to see the opera Pearl Fishers, which was done with Wellington Opera, the Wellington Opera Company at the Wellington Opera House. And I was just amazed, like, with the voices, that first note that was sung, I was captivated by it. I was looking to how were they singing and producing that sound, reaching us up in the gods and the cheap seats, and where were the microphones? The orchestra in the pit sounded amazing, like I've never really heard an orchestra before. So it was so, like, I was inspired. It was a defining moment, and I wanted to pursue it more after that evening. Yeah. I got married, I think I was quite young, immature for 25. So I got married, and to be honest, I had my goals. Like, I studied at NASDA straight after high school in Christchurch, and then I had these goals, these dreams. I wanted to go overseas, but I didn't actually factor in that I'd meet an amazing man and fall in love and have children. That wasn't in the equation. But so I had to change my game plan. So all my colleagues, singers, were going to London, and they were at all the prestigious schools there. In Australia, they got scholarships and things, and I thought, gosh, I'm married with a child. We don't really have that. We don't have the budget to do that. So we had to figure out how can I still pursue what I want to do. So we found the school in Perth called the Australian Opera Studio. Unfortunately, it's not running anymore, but oh my gosh, what an amazing school it was. I got a full scholarship there for 2 years. So we moved to Australia, and we were there for 5.5 years. So I did that the 2 years, and I graduated as the dux of my year.
Wow.
And it was just a full-on 2 years. I was literally part-time mum, full-time student. My kids were at daycare, like from the beginning of the day to the end of the day. They started, like, my daughter started when she was 0. But it was just sort of, that's sort of the sacrifice. I thought, they're socialising with kids. They're going to get used to being around people. I did 2 years then. And then we moved back to New Zealand. And my son was 5 and my daughter was like 2. So we went back there, and within that 2 years, from 2009 to 2011, we moved from Australia to New Zealand and then to London. And our son he went to like 4 different schools within the 2 years, and that's quite a lot for him because he's quite introverted and quite shy. So when we moved to London, the goal was for London, and that it happened that my husband's grandfather was English, which is the reason we could go. It's like if anything was aligned, I mean, you know, and you just sort of like as a Christian, you're like praying into these things, and then it's like, oh yeah, my grandfather's English, and I'm like, but me still clueless. What does that mean? Yeah. And it's like, so we could go, and I was like, oh my gosh, I was really like, it was amazing. So he did all of that, and then we got the visas to go, and then we went. Yeah, and that's how we ended up in London. When you're actually moving over, gosh, I can imagine myself as, moving over myself would be quite a big deal. Like I'd probably have a culture shock on my own. But going with, a young family, so by that time I had 2 children, and yeah, it was just it's just a huge place, Well, it's not huge, but there's just loads of people, and yeah, and I was nervous, I'm not going to lie. It was just sort of like, we are really far away from home, but I just really still wanted to continue pursuing my career, and I have the most supportive husband, like, oh my gosh, 1,000% supportive. And I knew actually right from the get-go that I didn't want to have a relationship with another artist, because I thought it's probably going to get too much. Yeah. I'm too much on my own. The poor guy can only handle one of me.
Because you were saying how your son's quite quiet and introverted, and then you said like your husband. So I think that balance is really nice to kind of balance each other out.
It is a lovely balance, yes. And
we can't both be superstars.
He is a superstar, though. And
I love
behind
that.
the scenes, he's the big star. But both my children are like their dad. I'm like, come on, man. Why aren't you guys social like me? But anyway, it's all right. With my children, I'm just pretty supportive of whatever they want to do. Like you said, my mother was just like, get a typing job and go get an office job, and I'm like, oh, that's not what I want to do. With my kids, definitely I support them 1,000%, whatever they want to do, just to make good choices for themselves. Well, yeah, so being a mother, I did decide to step aside and put my career on hold so I could raise my children in London. And so it wasn't until last year I decided to just take the risk. And I handed in my notice because I've been a full-time nanny, so I look after children for like the past nearly 10 years. So I decided last year to pursue my career again, and I suppose what I wanted to show other women, or even my own daughter, and my own family, that we can still go back to, following our dreams. I'm not 20 anymore, and the dreams that I had as a 20-year-old has passed, but I can dream up new things and be more creative in so many different ways. And so, for the mothers out there, we have had to put our lives on hold. And that's okay, because, we decided to have these kids, and, I have no regrets. You raise them and, the best of your ability. And then you just, go back to what you wanted to do. It might even be different. It might not be the initial thing that you wanted, because over the years we can change our passion, So, if there is a passion in there and your kids are old enough to look after themselves now, I think you should do it, because it's exactly what I'm doing now. Yeah, and I love it. My faith is very important to myself and my husband. And we just always know we've always included Jesus in the center of everything, to be honest. We're not perfect, by all means, but we do know that we could always lean on our faith. to pray into things. Just having our faith this whole time. All the worries that you have, we are so not good at giving our burdens, which is what we need to do. And I'm so thankful over the years I have become much better at actually giving those problems and those worries and the doubts to him, and just letting him do it in the background, because I don't know, there's just something inside me, that a confidence and a knowledge that I just know I'm going to be okay. And to be honest, he's always provided for us. Like, the cost of living, oh my gosh, is high.
What is it like in London?
It's high.
Oh, is it?
I mean, even the food is starting to go high. Like, it's, and we're all in. I mean, I come here and we're all in this pretty much the same boat. So it's sort of like, we pray into that as well, like every part of our lives, whether it's home life, relationships, our careers. It is, it's really important for us to keep our faith, and to have that always. My craving, oh my gosh, I've been so excited to come back, because I miss potato fritters. Okay. I don't have fish and chips. I have fish and potato fritters. Yeah. That's my thing. I also miss orange choc chip.
The ice cream?
Yes.
I can't do that. I can't get into
That's
it.
That's okay. I will do it for you. It's fine. More for me. Yeah. And actually, we have a New Zealand, Australian, South African shop called Sansa in the UK, but it's about pricey, but it's we can get stuff from there anyway. So and the other thing was, what was it? Meat pies.
The bakeries
the
are good.
meat pies are the bomb.com here. They really are. So it's the O.Gs concert, which is the original gangsters. It's on the 24th of March, and it's at Shed 10 at the Port of Auckland, and you can go on the website, the Auckland Arts Festival website, and book your tickets. We would love to see you there, and the tickets start from like $25, so there's no excuses, guys. Come and just fall in love with some classical music and the orchestra. You'll love it.
Sì,